missing. Look around, you go through life, you're happy, things are in your favor, but there's always that one thing. I felt like that for a long time, 20 years. I was happy, life was always going in my direction, it seemed like, but there was always something missing. I'd walk onto a bus with 40 people, but no one would talk to each other. Often the only person we're talking to is the person on the other side of our cell phone screen. I go to school, I go home, and with friends we watch television shows about people and families that are full of contention, you know, the Kardashians, and we watch it for joy and pleasure. We find that stuff funny. Or politics. Politicians stand there and they mercilessly argue with each other, never taking a second thought to look at the perspective of someone else. I had an experience with a friend though, who asked me about my life, asked me about what was going on, and I told him all my experiences, good and bad, and he listened intently. Then he took a second to pause and looked in my eyes. And when he looked at me, I knew that he was feeling what I felt. And he showed that to me, though he didn't even experience the same things as me. What he showed me that day was empathy. And from that moment on, I knew it was empathy that had been missing all those years of my life. It was the one thing that would have made all those selfish things that I saw, all those problems that I encountered, go away. And so I came to the life-changing conclusion that empathy, we should all learn, understand, and practice empathy more than we do now, so that our everyday communications can fuel connection, become more fulfilling, and resolve the great issues facing mankind. For this, we need to understand what empathy is, why it is so important, and how to cultivate it, how to show it. The Oxford English Dictionary defines empathy in two ways. Number one, it is a physical property of the nervous system, analogous to electrical capacitance. It is believed to be correlated with feeling. It is, in other words, something we're born with. It's a physical part of us. It is to our minds and our feelings what the flow of electricity is to the building we're in right now. The second definition is the ability to project one's personality into another in order to fully understand or appreciate it. So in short, empathy is the ability to feel with others and feel as they are in fact feeling. It's often confused with sympathy, though they're very different. Brené Brown, a renowned public speaker, a professor at the University of Houston Graduate College of Social Work, made the difference between empathy and sympathy very clear. Empathy drives connection. Sympathy fuels disconnection. When you feel sympathy, you feel what someone is feeling as if it was you. With empathy, you feel what they are feeling as if you are in fact them. You're in their shoes. That's what empathy is. It's feeling with others. Knowing what empathy is, we then have to understand, well, why is it so important? Well, why is Zach blabbering about this? Bruce D. Perry and Maya Salovitz, they wrote a book called Born for Love, Why Empathy is Essential and Endangered. It was published in New York. They talk about incarceration, how the land of the free incarcerates 5 times more people than the rest of the world combined on average. 2.3 million Americans as of 2008. They talk about this idea that we have so fully embraced and have let grow in our society that tells you to love yourself first in order to be happy. All you need is you to be happy, right? That's what we're told over and over again. As long as you have a good self-image and love of yourself, you're good. And with this, we've placed a negative connotation on the word dependent. We now see being dependent on someone or something as a bad thing or a negative thing. But dependency on others is life-saving. The embryo is dependent to its mother for life, the child to its parents for nurturing, the student to its teacher for knowledge, the worker to his employer for money, goes on and on. Every individual in society is dependent on someone other than themselves. So this idea that it's only you, that you need to be happy, it destroys empathy. It makes it seem meaningless. That's why it's so important that we connect, that we feel with each other, because that's how our society grows. The American people need to remember that no civilization has ever lasted forever. It's never happened. Knowing why empathy is so important and what it is, it begs the question, well, how can it be done? How do we cultivate it? If it's supposedly in all of us, why do we struggle to show it? We've all been there. I've been there. I'm no perfect example of empathy by any means. But Teresa Wiseman, she did a study of 53 professions, and she wrote an article called A Concept Analysis of Empathy. It's in the Journal of Advanced Nursing in 1996. She identified from these professions 4 traits of empathy that we would be wise to adopt. Number 1, the ability to see from the perspective of another. Number 2, the ability to do so without being judgmental. Number 3, recognizing their feelings and their emotion about something, not ridiculing it. And number 4, communicating to them that you understand how they feel. Ross Crisp wrote another article similar called The Characteristics of Master Therapists in 2014. He said that people who are empathetic need to, first of all, be vulnerable, selfless, and they need to be willing to be open to feedback, not just when it's convenient, but when it's helpful. These are the traits of empathy. This is what it is. This is why it's so detrimental to our society. It doesn't always have to be something you say, either. Sometimes we think, I don't know what to say, therefore I'm not capable of showing empathy. I remind you, our good friend Ursula in The Little Mermaid reminds us not to underestimate the importance of body language. It is a huge key indicator in showing empathy. So with that said, imagine a world where 40 people on a bus talked with each other. Imagine a world where politicians saw eye to eye and tried to see from the perspective of other people. Imagine a world where we didn't laugh at other people's pain, but we felt pain with them. It's life-changing. It might be easier only to care for oneself, but in the end, that's all we are, one self in a world of many selves. That's why it's so important. And I invite you all to learn, understand, and practice empathy more. It is the path to social change.